How good at math are you?
This would be
I've put together a quick 1 or 2 question test for each grade level, from grade 1 all the way up to university level math. For each grade, pause the video, try the question, and then watch to see if you got it right. Make sure to leave a comment about what grade level you could get up to. Welcome to grade 1. To pass this grade, you just have to move the cupcakes to the correct section of the Venn diagram. The sections of the Venn diagram are sprinkles and chocolate icing. My first cupcake has sprinkles but not chocolate icing, so that will go here. My second cupcake has chocolate icing but not sprinkles. This cupcake has both chocolate icing and sprinkles, so that will go in the overlap of the two circles. And the last cupcake has sprinkles but not chocolate icing. If you got all the cupcakes in the correct section, congratulations, you passed grade 1. Welcome to grade 2 math.
Oh, I was supposed to. Well, that was a pretty obvious one anyway. Okay. Question one. What time is it? Okay. Well, visually it's a little hard, so okay, so it's 3:30, 35, 40. Evaluate 13 plus 28. 41.
To pass this grade, you have to be able to tell time and add 2-digit numbers without a calculator. Let's start by figuring out what time the clock says. The hour hand is between the 3 and the 4, so I know it is 3 something. I'll figure out the minutes by looking at the minute hand, which is pointing at the 8. And remember, the big numbers represent increments of 5 minutes. 8 times 5 is 40, so I know the time is 3:40. Let's move on to the addition. I need to do 13 plus 28 without a calculator. I'll start by rewriting the 13 and the 28 into its tens and its ones. 13 is 10 plus 3, and 28 is 20 plus 8. I'll regroup those. I know 3 plus 8 is 11. 11 is 10 plus 1. And now the addition is easy. 10 plus 20 plus 10 is 40, plus 1 more is 41. If you're able to get those two answers, congratulations, you passed grade 2 math. Welcome to grade 3. To pass this grade,
Wow.
you're going to have to know stuff about fractions and know how to multiply without a calculator.
Okay. Color them right, greater than, less than, equal to, between the fractions. 50 and 2/5. Okay. 1/2 is bigger.
Look at question 1 first.
Okay. Question 2. 3/4 is 75.
It says to color, then write a greater than, less than, or equal to symbol between the fractions. So let's look at our first two fractions. Let me color in 2/5 of the first circle and 1/2 of the second circle. I can see that 2/5 is less than 1/2, so I'll write the less than symbol between those two fractions. 2/5 is less than 1/2. Let's look at the next set of fractions. I'll shade in 5/6 of the first circle and 3/4 of the second circle. I can see that 5/6 is bigger than 3/4. So I'll write the greater than symbol between those two fractions.
Yep.
Let's move on to the multiplication question.
Wait. Okay. 3 times 4. Oh, it's just 12. Wait. By expressing with an array. I forgot what that means. Oh, that's probably right. 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3.
Question 2 says evaluate 3 times 4 by representing with an array, and no calculator allowed. 3 times 4 just means 3 groups of 4, so I'll make 3 rows of 4. And now if I skip count by 4s, I can see that I have 4, 8, 12 dots in total. So 3 times 4 is 12. If you were able to get these 3 answers, congratulations, you passed grade 3 math. Welcome to grade 4 math. To pass this grade,
calculate the mean, median, and mode of the dataset. Please
we're
tell
going to
me I
have to
get
calculate mean, median, and mode, and also do a subtraction with no calculator. Let's start with question 1.
35001211208. The mean, median, and mode. You know what? I forgot how to do that. One of them, you add them all together and then divide by the number of things. One is the number right in the middle, and I forgot what the third one is. Okay, so let's see. 001112201. Okay, so there's 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 4 zeros, 3 ones, 2 twos, a 3, a 5, and an 8. So if you ordered it, 8, 5, 3 on one end, 0, 0, 0 on the other, then 0, 2. I think 1 is the middle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, so the median is like 1.5, I think. The other thing, okay, 3 plus 5 is 8, plus 1 is 9, plus 1 is 10, plus 2 is 12, plus 1 is 13, plus 2 is 15, plus 8 plus 1 is 9, is 24. 24 divided by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 is 2. So the median is 2, the mean is 1.5, and I forgot how to get the mode, or if I've got that right now. So let's see. That's without using a calculator.
Before I try and calculate mean, median, and mode, I'm going to rewrite that data set in ascending order. Now that they're in proper order, I'm going to start by calculating the mean, which is just the average of these numbers. I can find the average by adding them all up and dividing by how many numbers I have. So I'll start by adding them all together, and then divide by how many numbers I have. There are 12 numbers in this data set. When adding all the numbers together, it equals 24, and 24 divided by 12 is 2. So the average number of pets somebody has from this data set is 2. Let's now calculate the median. The median is just the middlemost number. Because there are 12 pieces of data, there is no one number that is in the middle of this data set. Between the 6th and the 7th number would be the middle. That would leave 6 pieces of data to the left and 6 to the right. So what's between the 6th and the 7th data set? Well, what's between 1 and 1? The average of 1 and 1 is 1. So the median is 1. The last thing we have to do is calculate the mode, which is just the number that occurs the most frequently. There are 3 zeros, but there are 4 ones. So it looks like 1 is the number that occurs the most frequently, so 1 is the mode. Let's move on to question number 2.
I forgot the definition.
To evaluate,
that was pretty simple.
970 minus 2.
Question 2, evaluate 970 minus 248. Okay. 2,
48 without a calculator. Let me set up the question, and now I'll subtract each column. I'll start with the ones column. I can't subtract 8 from 0, so I'll need to borrow from the 7, making it a 6, and that would make the 0 a 10. 10 minus 8 is 2, 6 minus 4 is 2, and 9 minus 2 is 7. If you were able to get these 4 answers, congratulations, you passed grade 4 math. Welcome to grade 5 math. To pass this grade, you're going to have to be able to do a division with no calculator and a multiplication with no calculator.
Damn, okay. 12 goes into 18 one time, leaving 63. 12 goes into 63 5 times, leaving 3. 12 goes into 35. Only 2 times. Oof. 12 into 18. 1, 5, 2.
Kakak adik yang no katanya tipsy peno dia mute.
Spy Torpina?
To.
152 points.
Start with the division. Let me set up the division table. I'll start by seeing how many times does 12 go into 18. It can fit in one whole time. 1 times 12 is 12. 18 minus 12 is 6. Bring down the 3, and I'll repeat the process. 12 goes into 63 5 whole times. 5 times 12 is 60. Subtract, and I get 3. Bring down the 5, and repeat the process. 12 can only fit into 35 twice. 2 times 12 is 24. Subtract, I get 11. Because I still have a remainder, I'm going to have to add a decimal place and keep going. I don't know how many decimals I'm going to need, so I'll just add a bunch. Let me bring down this 0. And now 12 can go into 110 9 times. 9 times 12 is 108. Subtract, I get 2. I'll bring down a 0. 12 goes into 20 once. 1 times 12 is 12. If I subtract, I get 8. I'll bring down another 0. 12 can go into 80 6 times. 6 times 12 is 72. When I subtract, I get 8 again. Because I got 8 twice in a row here, I see that that pattern is just going to keep continuing. So I'm going to get an infinite number of 6s at the top here, repeating. So what I can do is just write one of those 6s and put a line above it to indicate that it's going to repeat. Let's go on to question 2. Let's do.
I would have just rounded. Oh, frick me. Without a calculator? Eight. 36. 16, 19. 1,938. $14. 1476, 1930. If I had a paper, this would be easier.
This multiplication, once again without a calculator. I'll start by multiplying 4 by 492, and then 30 by 492. 4 times 2 is 8. 4 times 9 is 36. I'll write the 6 here, carry the 3 above there. 4 times 4 is 16, add the 3 to get 19. This 3 represents 30, so I need to add a 0, and then do 3 times 2, which is 6. 3 times 9 is 27. Write the 7, carry the 2. And 3 times 4 is 12, add the 2 to get 14. I can find my product.
Okay, it's easier to visualize now. 8 plus 2 the 1. 7. Take up the 1. 6. 16,700.
Just by adding those two values. Adding the first column, I get 8. The next column, I get 12. Write the 2, carry the 1. This column, I get 17. Write the 7, carry the 1. This column adds to 6. And in this column, there's just a 1. Let me zoom out so you can see the full answers. If you were able to get those two answers, congratulations, you passed grade 5 math. Welcome to grade 6 math. To pass grade 6, you just have to know how to evaluate expressions using the correct order of operations, and you have to know how to divide fractions. Let's start with the order of
4 times 5 divided by 2 plus 7 minus 1. Just 7 minus 4 is 3. Squared is 9. 9 times 5 is 45. 4 times 5 is 20, divided by 2 is 10. 10
operations question. To do question 1, you just have to remember BEDMAS. BEDMAS tells you to do brackets, then exponents, then multiplication and division, then addition and subtraction. So for this first question here, the first thing that we should do is evaluate inside the brackets. 7 minus 4 is 3. Next, we should evaluate the exponent, so 3 squared is 9. Now I'll do multiplications and divisions, moving from left to right. So this multiplication comes first. 4 times 5 is 20. And now I'll do 20 divided by 2, which is 10. And before I can do the addition, I have to evaluate the product of 9 times 5, which is 45. And lastly, I can add 10 and 45 to get 55. Let's move on to question 2.
Easy.
I need to divide those.
4/5 divided by 3/10. Gotta get common denominator. So 6/10. So the answer is 2/10, aka 1/5. Or the answer is 2 if I forgot how to do fractions. But I'm pretty sure it...
Fractions, the rule for dividing fractions is we keep the first fraction the same, so 4 over 5. We change the division to multiplication, and we flip the second fraction. So it becomes 10 over 3. And when multiplying fractions, you just multiply the numerators, so 4 times 10, and multiply the denominators, 5 times 3. I'm going to make this easier by reducing right now. I've got a 10 divided by 5, that can reduce to 2 over 1. So in the numerator, I just have 4 times 2, which is 8. In the denominator, I have 1 times 3, which is 3. Let me zoom out and you can check your answers. If you were able to get...
Huh? Okay, well, if I knew the rule, the math is easy, but okay. You're not even gonna simplify to a whole number. You're not gonna make it 102 over...
At 8/3 and 55. Congratulations, you passed grade 6 math. Welcome to grade 7 math. To pass this grade, you're going to have to remember some angle properties and how to find the volume of three-dimensional shapes. Let's start with question 1, where it says solve for angle x.
Oof. And it all goes downhill from here.
Y and Z. First thing I notice is that those two lines cross, and I know angles opposite from each other are equal. So I know angle Y would have to be equal to 53 degrees. The next thing I notice is that on a straight line, the angles that make up that straight line, so X and Y, have to add to 180. They're supplementary angles. So I could say that X plus 53 has to be equal to 180. Let me write that little equation. And then if I solve that equation by subtracting the 53 to the other side, I get X equals 127 degrees. And now to solve for Z, there's a few ways we could do it, but I noticed that On this line, all three angles that make up the line would be supplementary, meaning they add to 180. So 53 plus 18 plus z would have to equal 180. So I'll write that equation. 53 plus 18 is 71. Subtract that 71 to the other side, and I would get z is equal to 109 degrees. Let's move on to question 2, where we have to find the volume of this canopy. Let me zoom in on the canopy. Notice
10 fourths 14. Isn't it just multiply all three?
this canopy is made up of two shapes. There is a triangular based prism at the top of the canopy, and there is a rectangular based prism at the bottom of the canopy. So we need the volume of both of those shapes. It'll be important for you to remember that the volume of any prism is equal to the area of the base of the prism multiplied by the height of the prism. So if I try and apply that formula, so let me start by finding the volume of the triangular base prism at the top of the canopy. I just need to find the area of the base of that prism, so the area of that triangle. Well, the area of a triangle is just a half times the base of the triangle times the height of the triangle. So I'll do a half times 10 times 4. That gives me the area of the base of the prism, and that has to be multiplied by the height of the prism, which is 14. If I do that calculation, I get 280 feet cubed. Now I need to find the volume of the rectangular base prism that's at the bottom of the canopy. I need to start by finding the area of its base, so the area of that rectangle. I just do the length, which is 10, times the width, which is 8. And that has to be multiplied by the height of the prism, which is 14. If I do that calculation, I get 1,120 feet cubed. So the total volume of the canopy, I would just add those two volumes together. 1,120 plus 280 equals 1,400 feet cubed. Let me zoom out. If you were able to get all 4 of these answers, congratulations, you passed grade 7 math. On this line, if you were able to get 8/3 and
all this content made for kids, so I cannot make comments? Huh?
55, I get x equals 127 degrees. And now to solve for z, let me zoom in on the canopy, volume of both of those. Apply that formula, well, the area that's at the bottom multiplied by the volumes together. If you were able to get all 4 of these answers, congratulations, you passed grade 7 math. Welcome to grade 8 math. To pass this grade, you'll have to know how to do some basic algebra and know how to use Pythagorean theorem. Let's start with
Okay, basic algebra, easy. -5 x plus 10 equals 3x plus 6. Okay, we'll start by subtracting 10 from both sides, leaving -5x equals 3x minus 4. Then we'll divide -5 Wait, no. I can add 5x to the right, which will give me 8x. I can minus 6 from the left side, which will give me 4. So then
question 1, where we do some basic algebra. I need to solve for what value of x makes the equation true. I'll start by getting both variable terms. on the right side of the equation, and both constant terms on the left side of the equation using inverse operations. So on the left, I'll have 10 minus 6. On the right, I'll have 3x plus 5x. When I collect my like terms, I've got 4 equals 8x. To isolate that x that's being multiplied by 8, I would do the inverse of multiplying by 8, which is dividing by 8. Do it to both sides. On the right, the 8's cancel, and I get x equals 4 over 8, which you would have to reduce to get a half. On to question 2 of grade 8. We have to find the height of this pyramid. So I'm looking for the length of that side. I notice that side is part of a right triangle. Let me just outline that right triangle. And I know it's a right triangle because by definition, the height is going to be perpendicular to the base of this pyramid. And the other thing I notice is that this side here is half the diagonal of the square at the base of the pyramid. Since it's a square-based pyramid, I know that what I'm outlining now is also a right angle triangle with a right angle at the corner. With the green right triangle, I could find the length of the diagonal, and then I can use half of that length as that side of my blue right triangle, and then Pythagorean theorem will allow me to solve for the height because I do know this side. Notice it's going to be the same as 33 since this is a square-based pyramid. So let's start with the green triangle. Both of the shorter sides are 36. And I know based on Pythagorean theorem that the sum of the squares of the shorter two sides, so 36 squared plus 36 squared, is equal to the square of the longest side, which I'll call the diagonal d, so d squared. 36 squared plus 36 squared is 2592, so that's what d squared would equal. To figure out what d is equal to, I would have to move the squared over. The inverse of squaring is square rooting. So the square root of 2592 is equal to d. So this whole diagonal is the square root of 2592. I actually only want half of that. Let me make a note of that. So now using this blue right triangle, Pythagorean theorem would tell me that the square root of 2592 over 2 squared plus h squared is equal to the hypotenuse, which is 33 squared. I can simplify this term by squaring both the numerator and denominator. That would give me 2592 over 4, which is actually equal to 648, plus h squared equals 33 squared is 1089. If I subtract that 648 to the other side, 1089 minus 648 is 441. And then to isolate h, I would square root the 441. And the square root of 441 is 21. The height of that square pyramid, so the height of that square pyramid is 21 centimeters. If you were able to get that answer and that answer, congratulations, you passed grade 8 math. Welcome to grade 9 math. To pass this grade, you're going to have to be able to find the equation of a line perpendicular to y equals negative 3/5 x plus 7 and goes through the point 6, negative 2. And then you have to graph the line. Let me start just by quickly graphing this line. I know it has a y-intercept of 7 and a slope of negative 3 over 5. So I'll plot the y-intercept, and then rise negative 3, so down 3, and then run 5, so to the right 5. I want the equation of the line that's perpendicular to that one, and goes through the xy point, 6, negative 2. So I know it's going to look something like this, so that's perpendicular. Let me find its equation and then draw it more accurately. To find the equation, I know that it's going to have a slope perpendicular to negative 3 over 5. So a slope that is perpendicular to negative 3 over 5, I do the negative reciprocal. So flip it and change the sign, so it becomes positive 5 over 3. I can come up with the y equals mx plus b equation by subbing in that perpendicular slope for m, and this xy point for my x and my y in my equation, and then solving for b. So I'd have negative 2 equals 5/3 times 6 plus b. This works out nicely because 6 divided by 3 is 2. So I have negative 2 equals 5 times 2, which is 10, plus b, so b is negative 12. So the equation of my line is y equals 5/3 x minus 12. To graph the line, the y-intercept doesn't fit on the graph, but I already have a point. So from that point, I'll just use my slope of 5/3. So rise 5, run 3. That means go up 5, and then right 3, and then plot a point. And there we have it. There's the graph of the line and its equation. If you're able to get those correct, congratulations, you passed grade 9 math. Welcome to grade 10 math. To pass grade 10 math, for this quadratic relationship that we see here, we have to use the x-intercepts and the vertex to sketch a graph of it. Let's start by finding the x-intercepts. I know wherever it crosses the x-axis, it's going to have a y value of 0. So I'll set y equal to 0 and then try to set multiple quadratic and the factors divide by 2 to the original, which would be equal to symmetrical. I know I could plot it. Welcome to grade 11 math. To pass this grade, you just have to know a bit of trigonometry. You have to be able to find the exact value of sine of 225. And I should mention, no calculator for this one either. To be able to get the exact value without a calculator, you'll have to know your special triangles. The special triangle that'll be needed for this question is the isosceles special triangle. The isosceles special triangle has side lengths of 1 and 1, the hypotenuse is root 2, and the acute angles are both 45 degrees. Let me start by drawing this principal quadrant of 225 degrees. My special triangle too. So sine of 2 negative. It says find the local extrema, negative root 2 over 2. If you were able to get that answer, congratulations, you passed grade 11 math. Welcome to grade 12 math. We've got a calculus local extrema question. It says find the local extrema of this f at x function. I know at any local max or min point, the slope, the derivative, is going to be equal to 0. So I'll start by finding the equation of the exact one from the get minus by factoring. Quadratic this factor would be 0 if x was negative 1. And negative 1, 12. Those are point, or maybe neither. I'm going to do it using 6 and the double prime, concave negative 1, negative. You passed grade 12 math. Congratulations. Welcome to university level math. To pass this university level math question, you just have to be able to use integration techniques to find the area bounded between two curves. To find this shaded area, I'm going to first have to know where do these two functions intersect. So the top function is equal, 0, so I'm going to 0 equal. So my 2b value is 1 integrand minus this value. If you're able to get that answer, you're at the university math level. Congratulations. Make sure to leave in the comments what level you got to and what series you want to see next. Jensen How good at math are you?
About 6th grade.